From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
And good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on the Noon News on this Monday. Well, we're starting with a look outside on this Monday. Some really nice areas of the state seeing that sunshine, but probably won't stick around, will it?
Yeah, we do have some changes on the way. You're right, Andrea. It is Montana and northern Wyoming. What are we talking about? No, she's right. It is absolutely gorgeous out there right now. Let's take a live look at her temperatures. 70s and 80s, moving from west to east. We're going to get a little warmer than this as we go along today. Don't think we're going to see any records fall, but Great Falls, maybe a chance. With a high of 87 today, you would tie the record. We're going to put you just shy of that of about 84, but just shows you just how warm it's going to be today and still a chance to be warm tomorrow. We do have temperatures in the 80s already in the northeast corner of the state, and I just want to focus on that just for a second. Extreme drought conditions continue to persist in that area, and with low humidity and gusty winds, there is a red flag warning in effect through this evening. It's very, very dry up there, and not a lot of rainfall in the forecast for the next couple of days. Now, again, there may be some changes as we head toward the weekend, and we'll take a look at that with the main forecast coming up. Andrea.
All right, Miller, thanks so much. There's some praise and some confusion in response to those new guidelines that suggest fully vaccinated individuals no longer have to wear masks. Here's Laura Podesta with more.
Federal health officials were on all the Sunday morning political shows cleaning up their messaging on masks. At issue, the change in guidance recommending vaccinated Americans no longer need to wear masks most places, indoors or out.
2 weeks ago, the CDC said that people who had been vaccinated were safer while wearing masks. Now there's new guidance. What changed in that period?
Well, what's happened, there's been an accumulation of data, John, showing in the real world effectiveness of the vaccines. It is even better than in the clinical trials, well over 90% protecting you against disease.
Over the weekend, Walmart and Costco said customers do not have to wear a face covering. But some retailers like Kroger, Target, and Home Depot say they're keeping their mask policies in place.
I certainly think that we still have a ways to go before it feels fully safe.
Other small business owners are now grappling with what to enforce.
Our clients going to be upset if we ask them for proof.
And how to verify the vaccinated.
I think it's awfully difficult for us to say, I want to see your vaccination record when people walk in.
CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky addressed that concern.
People have to be honest with themselves. You're protected if you're vaccinated. You're not if you're not vaccinated.
Almost 2/3 of Americans are still not fully vaccinated. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
Nationwide, new COVID cases have plummeted. Lumber prices are skyrocketing, and it's just one more thing that you can blame on the pandemic. Prices were low and profit margins were tight before the pandemic struck, but that inventory meant they were also low. COVID-19 hit and made it tough to keep workers despite soaring demand. Well, Montana allowed mills to stay open, but a shortage in supplies actually contributed to that price rising. $100 million in improvements are coming to the University of Montana. The university will start construction on a new dining hall, and then the dorms will get a facelift. The university hopes these upgrades will help attract students for years to come.
Really, this is their home for 4 and 5 years. So we want to make sure our residence halls are up to date. Our dining halls are places that people want to hang out, eat, and feel welcome. So we're making these investments to ensure that that's the case.
Well, the project should be completed by 2025. A family-owned business burned to the ground just weeks before the grand opening. MTN's Gabby Crevitt has the latest.
On Sunday at around 3:30 in the morning, an employee at the Jackpot Casino in Belgrade, just off of Jackrabbit Lane, was walking out to his car after the end of a shift when he noticed the next door business had started on fire.
I was leaving work and I, kind of looked across the way. I heard what kind of sounded like a fire and then a couple popping and some hissing, and it was loud enough I had to take my earbuds out.
Monty Kerr made the call as soon as he could see flames visible from the Rocky Mountain Car Wash, a family-run business which was slated to open in June.
police department arrived on scene, Belgrade Police Department arrived on scene to find fire and smoke visible from the structure, reported that back. Our units arrived on scene and obviously began fire suppression efforts.
Multiple agencies responded to the call, including the Central Valley Fire Department and the Bozeman Fire Department. Central Valley's Fire Marshal Bruce Hennequin said it took just under an hour to get the fire in control and a few hours to fully extinguish the flames, which were visible from I-90. Hennequin said the firefighters had good access to the fire, but were concerned about nearby businesses.
There was a pretty decent wind this morning, not significant, but enough. It was blowing embers around. So they were concerned about some of the vegetation around the hotel over here and stuff, but we didn't have any extension to those areas, so we were fortunate.
Now the Central Valley Fire Department and Belgrade PD are investigating the scene and collecting evidence, as the cause of the fire remains unknown. While there are no reported injuries, the future Rocky Mountain Car Wash was left devastated by the fire. And as for Kerr, who made the initial call for service, he told MTN News he was amazed by how quickly the fire grew.
It was a small little fire. I was contemplating running back into the jackpot, grab the fire extinguisher, but I got a wife and kids at home. By the time I called the cops, when I took that video, it was probably 10 minutes. I mean, that thing went up like crazy.
Reporting in Belgrade, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
And the owners do say that they plan to rebuild. Well, the burn scar from Mount Sentinel and that fire is already showing signs of recovery. Officials say the fire spread across the landscape, making it essentially dead. Many plants are now growing back, and fire officials say this makes for a good fire lesson. On the surface, a wildfire may appear like a negative thing, but it has a purpose. We have more to come on this Monday's New News, including renewed calls to bring awareness to Montana's search for missing and murdered Indigenous people. We'll take you to a recent march. And Miller is back in with a look at that statewide weather forecast.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with meteorologist Miller Robson.
And it is turning out to be a beautiful Monday. Get outdoors, enjoy it if you can. Don't forget the sunscreen and, of course, the bottled water. High pressure, for the most part, is going to keep us dry, but you don't see it here. Way on down there in the southern portion of the Rockies, there's an upper level low. It's trying to push a bunch of moisture up. You can see some cloud cover there. They may give us some showers over the Absarokas and also around the Beartooth as well. But most of the state, of course, is going to be dry. But as we get into the overnight, we start to see a cold front affecting the state over to the west by about 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning. We may start to see some of that rain move in with this cold front. That's where those cooler temperatures will be tomorrow, although the rest of the state looks like we're trying to get into the 70s and 80s at least one more day. And then on Wednesday, that cold front will start to dominate. It's going to cool our temperatures down as we move forward, and each and every day we'll have a chance of seeing some rain. We also have an area of low pressure coming out of the west, a cutoff low that will keep pumping that moisture and instability into the area. So we may have a shot later in the week of seeing possibly some strong thunderstorms. Right now, not looking like there's going to be a whole lot of energy for that. And there's a thing called capping, SIN, that could cap off that opportunity for those thunderstorms to grow and to get nice and tall, where we can get those thundering storms coming through the area. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as we get later toward the end of the week. But lots of sunshine today in Kalispell and Missoula. Upper 70s today in Kalispell, mid 80s in Missoula, and that cold front, of course, will cool us down as we move in tomorrow and for the rest of the week. Great Falls now. I mentioned this earlier, Great Falls, if you hit that 84, you will be just shy of a record of 87. I don't think you're going to get there, but you'll give it the old college try. Mid 80s in Helena too. We'll be cooling down for the rest of the week. 40s for the afternoon highs by Thursday, and we do have a chance for snow by Thursday, especially in Helena. In fact, there's going to be a winter storm watch in effect for Helena, the state capital, and surrounding areas Wednesday night through Saturday, with 6 to 18 inches of snowfall possible above pass level. So old man winter not done yet. Lots of sunshine with 70s and 80s today in Bozeman and Butte. Cooler air moving in, so we'll start to cool down moving forward into the week. And Butte may not actually get out of the upper 30s Tuesday, or rather Thursday and Friday. We do have a chance of rain to start by the middle of the week, then a rain-snow mix Thursday and Friday in Bozeman, and we could see some snow flurries in Butte as well. As we wrap things up in Glendive, quite warm today there, also in Billings. Now, no records, even though we're going to see those temperatures getting into the low to mid 80s. You'd have to get into the 100s for a record in Glendive and into the 90s for Billings. So we're not going to see that, but still a good 10 to 15 degrees above average where we should be. That cold front begins cooling us down as we get into the middle of the week, and we'll have a chance for rain returning mainly by Wednesday. Could see a few strong thunderstorms possible Thursday in Billings. Overnight lows will slowly get cooler as well. It's all about the timing of that cold front, and depending on what it does and what kind of instability we're looking at, maybe Thursday, Friday, we could see some rather strong thunderstorms moving west to east. Definitely something we'll keep an eye on. But right now, Andrea, looks like we're going to be okay with that. Fingers are crossed. We don't want to see any strong stuff coming through.